Hey everyone! Welcome back to the Expensive Coins History channel. Today, we're diving into the world of Lincoln pennies and counting down the top 6 pennies you need to know about, from rare finds to valuable collector's gems. Whether you're a coin collector or just curious, stick around because some of these pennies might surprise you. The 1996 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. Even though this coin is common, certain examples can be surprisingly valuable, and in 2025 its market interest continues to grow among collectors. So let's explore its history, rarity, special features, and what it may be worth today. The 1996 D penny is part of the long-running Lincoln Cent series, a series that began in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. This coin carries the familiar portrait of Lincoln on the front, a design that has become one of the most iconic and longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. On the reverse is the Lincoln Memorial, the design used from 1959 through 2008. By 1996, these pennies were no longer made of solid copper. Instead, they were produced from a zinc core coated with copper, a change the U.S. Mint made after 1982. The D Mint mark on the 1996 penny tells us that it was struck at the Denver Mint. Denver produced an enormous number of pennies that year, with over 6.5 billion coins minted. Because of this massive production quantity, the 1996 D penny is considered a common date coin. Most of these pennies went straight into circulation, which is why the majority of them show some degree of wear, scratching, or discoloration from years of use. Since these pennies are so common, the typical worn 1996 D penny is usually worth only 1 cent today. Even nicer uncirculated examples that someone may have saved from pocket change are usually worth just a few cents to maybe a few dimes. For most collectors, a regular uncirculated 1996 D penny is easy to find and not difficult to replace. That keeps the general market value low, but here is where things get interesting, and where the possibility of real value comes in. Not all 1996 D pennies are created equal. A very small number of them have survived in exceptional quality. Coins that were never used, never exposed to pockets or circulation, and still have bright, original copper-red luster can be worth much more. When these coins are professionally graded and placed into protective holders, collectors pay close attention to their grade. High grades such as Mint State 67, Mint State 68, or even Mint State 69 are extremely difficult to find for modern pennies because even tiny imperfections can lower the grade significantly. A 1996 D penny in one of these top grades can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The reason is simple: out of billions struck, only a handful remain in nearly perfect condition. Even a single faint mark or small scratch can keep a coin from reaching these premium grades. Collectors who specialize in high-end Lincoln cents are always looking for the finest known examples, and they are willing to pay serious money for them. Beyond high-grade coins, there is another category that can give a 1996 D penny added value: minting errors. Error coins are created when something unusual happens during the minting process. Some 1996 pennies show off-center strikes, doubled images, die cracks, or other unusual features. These errors range from common to very rare, and the value depends on how dramatic, unusual, and well-preserved the error is. Some errors may bring in just a few dollars, while others can sell for hundreds depending on their rarity and visual impact. So what is a 1996 D penny actually worth in 2025? Here is the realistic breakdown. A circulated penny that has seen normal use is generally worth only face value. A nice uncirculated example that has never been used might bring around 10 to 40 cents. A coin that has been professionally graded and receives a high Mint State grade can be worth far more, ranging from a few dollars to, in rare cases, several $100s for top-quality pieces. The few highest-grade coins, especially those graded near perfect, are the ones that can reach values in the thousands. Error coins also vary greatly in price, depending on how rare and striking the error is. It's important to remember that value in coin collecting is always based on rarity, condition, demand, and uniqueness. The 1996 D penny is a perfect example of a coin that is extremely common in general but incredibly rare in the top condition levels that collectors pay the most for. So should you keep your 1996 D penny? If it is a normal worn penny, it's simply worth a cent. But if it looks new, shiny, and free from marks, or if you see something unusual about the design, it might be worth a closer look. You could be holding something worth far more than pocket change. 1996 No Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it seems like just an ordinary coin you might find in any pocket, jar, or cash register. But every coin has a story, and even a modern penny can hold surprising value under the right circumstances. In this video, we're going to explore the full history of the 1996 penny, why it exists, how it was made, how rare or common it actually is, what errors to look for, how much it can be worth, and what its real market value looks like in 2025. If you've got a handful of pennies nearby, you might want to check them as you watch. The Lincoln cent has been around since 1909 when it replaced the Indian head penny. It was created to honor Abraham Lincoln, making it the first circulating U.S. coin to feature an actual historical figure rather than a symbolic representation like Liberty. By 1996, the Lincoln design had already been used for nearly 9 decades. The reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. These memorial cents were iconic, instantly recognizable, and produced in enormous quantities. By 1996, the composition of the penny had changed to a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper. This was done years earlier to cut minting costs, as solid copper coins had become too expensive to produce. In 1996, the Philadelphia Mint struck well over 6.5 billion pennies, and Philadelphia did not place mint marks on coins at the time. That's why the 1996 penny without a mint mark exists. It simply means it was made in Philadelphia. Because of the enormous mintage numbers, this coin is extremely common. For that reason, most 1996 pennies you find today are only worth their face value, 1 cent, but that doesn't mean all of them are worthless. The key to value lies in condition, errors, and exceptional preservation. Most 1996 pennies circulated heavily, which means they show wear, dull color, scratches, and fading detail. These examples are extremely common and hold no special collector premium. However, when a 1996 penny has never circulated and still has its bright, copper-red mint luster, it becomes more desirable to collectors. Uncirculated examples, especially those graded at high mint state levels like MS65 or higher, can be worth more than pocket change, though usually still modest amounts. Only the very highest grade coins, those that survive nearly flawless with bright red copper color and sharp details, can reach impressive prices. Rare examples graded extremely high have sold for hundreds or even thousands in the past. These cases are exceptional, not typical, but they demonstrate what's possible if a coin is preserved perfectly from the moment it left the mint. Beyond condition, some 1996 pennies gain value because of minting errors. These include double die errors, where designs or letters appear doubled from misalignment during the striking process. Doubling can occur on Lincoln's face, the date, the word Liberty, or the inscriptions on the reverse. More dramatic doubling can bring significant premiums. Another type of error is the off-center strike, where part of the design is pushed outward and cut off due to misalignment during minting. Minor off-center strikes are not worth much, but coins that are noticeably off-center, while still showing the date, can bring stronger prices. Die cracks, such as the famous BIE error that appears between the letters B and E in the word Liberty, are also collectible and can add a few dollars of value depending on severity. There are also spacing anomalies on the word America on the reverse, especially what collectors call wide AM varieties, where the A and M are spaced farther apart than usual. These can be interesting finds and sometimes bring premiums among variety collectors. Now let's talk about the real-world value of the 1996 No Mint Mark penny in the year 2025. For an ordinary circulated example, the value remains 1 cent. Even lightly circulated coins are worth very little beyond face value. Uncirculated examples, those that still look fresh from the mint, can sell for a small premium, often just several cents to perhaps $1 depending on the grade, color, and overall appeal. Mid-range mint state examples, such as MS-64 or MS-65, are more common than people think due to the massive mintages and the fact that many rolls were saved. These coins usually bring modest premiums, often under $1 or slightly above it. Higher-grade mint state examples, particularly those in MS-67 or MS-68 with bright red surfaces and minimal marks, can reach stronger prices. Exceptional coins in top-tier grades have sold for hundreds or more, but such coins are incredibly rare and typically found only when certified by professional grading companies. Error coins, depending on the severity and attractiveness of the error, can range from a few dollars for simple die cracks to tens or even hundreds for dramatic off-center strikes or strong doubled dies. The reason so many people overestimate the value of a 1996 penny is because online listings often show unrealistic asking prices. Many of these aren't actual sale prices, they're just posts hoping someone will pay an inflated amount. The reality is that billions were minted, and only the best of the best or the rare errors carry serious value. Most examples, even shiny ones, are common and will not make you rich. If you want to know whether your 1996 penny has value, start by examining the condition. If the coin has full, bright copper red color with no wear, your chances increase. Next, check for doubling, off-center strikes, die cracks, or unusual spacing on the letters. If your coin appears exceptional, you can consider having it professionally graded. Grading is usually only worthwhile for coins that look nearly perfect. The 1996 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of the most common pennies ever made, and most examples remain worth just 1 cent. But under the right circumstances, especially with perfect condition or unusual minting errors, a 1996 penny can be worth far more. While finding a high-value example is rare, it isn't impossible, and that's part of the fun of coin collecting. Every coin is a little piece of history, and every so often, one of those coins surprises you. The 1997 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. We're going to explore its background, why it was made, how many were produced, how rare it actually is, what makes some examples valuable, and what collectors are paying for it in the current 2025 market. So sit back and enjoy, because by the end of this video you'll know everything you need to spot whether your 1997 D penny is ordinary pocket change or a coin with potential. The Lincoln cent has been a part of American coinage since 1909, created to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It became the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real person rather than a symbolic figure. In 1959, the reverse design changed from the famous wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial, and this memorial design continued until 2008. The 1997 D penny is part of this long-running series and carries the iconic profile of Lincoln on the obverse along with the Denver Mint's D mark beneath the date. By 1997 the composition of the penny had long changed from solid copper to copper-plated zinc, a shift that happened in the early 1980s. This means the 1997 D penny weighs about 2.5 grams and features a thin copper layer over a zinc core. The overall look remained the same as the classic Lincoln Memorial design, but the metal content became much more economical for mass production. And speaking of mass production, this coin was minted in incredibly high numbers. The Denver Mint produced well over 4.5 billion pennies in 1997. That number alone tells you something important. With billions of these coins entering circulation, the average 1997 D penny today is extremely common. If you reach into your pocket and find one that's been worn down from years of use, the reality is that it will usually be worth only its face value. There's nothing rare about an everyday circulated example of this coin, but that doesn't mean all 1997 D pennies are worthless. As with many modern coins, condition is everything. Collectors place the highest value on coins that are in exceptional condition, especially examples that have never circulated. If a 1997 D penny was preserved well from the moment it left the mint, showing bright original luster, a sharp strike, clean surfaces, and no visible wear, it can definitely bring a premium. The difference between a circulated coin and a mint state coin can be dramatic. Collectors especially love coins that have been professionally graded. When a coin is sealed in a protective holder and certified by a known grading service, buyers gain confidence in the coin's authenticity and exact grade. Mint state grades begin at MS60 and go all the way up to the perfect MS70. A 1997 D penny in the lower mint state range might be worth a few cents, but a coin that grades extremely high, particularly MS67 or above, becomes significantly more desirable. These top-grade examples are the ones that can sell for strong premiums compared to their face value, because finding a flawless zinc penny from the 1990s is not easy. Another factor that can affect value is whether the coin has any kind of striking error. While the 1997 D penny is not known for major widespread varieties, unusual mint errors do occasionally slip through. These errors can include off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, doubling, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. When genuine errors appear, collectors are often willing to pay far more than standard price guides suggest. If you think you have an error coin, it's worth taking a closer look or having it examined by someone familiar with coin errors. So how much is the 1997 D penny worth in 2025? The answer depends entirely on condition. For most circulated coins, the value is just 1 cent. They are fun to collect but not financially valuable. For uncirculated coins that still have mint shine, values typically range from a few cents up to around $1 depending on quality. The higher and cleaner the grade, the more a collector might pay. Certified mint state examples, especially those at the upper end of the grading scale, can sell for more and sometimes reach a few dollars. These coins aren't usually rare, but true high-end pieces do stand out because so few survive in pristine condition after nearly 3 decades. It's important to remember that while many people hope their modern penny might be worth thousands, the truth is that the standard 1997 D penny was mass-produced in huge numbers and is not rare enough to bring extreme prices. Only coins with exceptional quality or unique errors have the potential to be worth significantly more than the average example. For most people, the 1997 D penny is a fun part of the Lincoln Cent series but not a life-changing discovery. If you have a 1997 D penny at home, take a moment to examine it closely. Look for sharp details, bright luster, and the absence of scratches or wear. If the coin looks extremely well preserved, you might consider having it graded to bring out its full market potential. If it's worn, it still makes a great addition to a date and mint mark collection, and with that, you now know the full history, rarity, and value range for the 1997 D Lincoln penny in the 2025 market. Even though most examples won't break the bank, it's always exciting to learn the story behind the coins we use every day. 1997 No Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1 cent penny. This video will give you everything you need to know about its history, how it was made, why it has no mint mark, whether it is rare, how much it can really be worth, and what its current market value looks like in the year 2025. So sit tight, because this is going to be one of the most detailed explanations available anywhere online. Let's begin with the basic background of the 1997 Lincoln penny. In 1997, the United States Mint was producing Lincoln Memorial cents, which featured Abraham Lincoln on the front of the coin and the famous Lincoln Memorial Building on the back. These pennies were part of a long-running series that began in 1959 and continued all the way through 2008. By 1997 the design was extremely familiar to collectors and the general public. The penny was made of copper-plated zinc, which had been the standard composition since 1982, when the mint switched away from solid copper due to rising copper prices. Now, here is why the 1997 penny you found has no mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint was responsible for producing pennies in 1997, and Philadelphia does not place a mint mark on pennies. This is not an error at all. All regular 1997 pennies from Philadelphia were intentionally produced without a mint mark. So when you see a 1997 penny with no letter underneath the date, that is totally normal and expected. Many people online assume a missing mint mark means the coin must be rare or valuable, but for the 1997 penny, the absence of a mint mark is completely standard. What really determines if a coin is rare or valuable is the mintage number. And in the case of the 1997 penny, the mintage was massive. Billions of these pennies were produced. Because of that enormous quantity, most 1997 pennies are extremely common and easy to find. They appear in pocket change, coin jars, and rolls from the bank everywhere in the United States. So if you have one, chances are it is one of the billions made for everyday use. However, where things do get interesting is with condition. While the 1997 penny is common overall, finding one in absolutely perfect mint state condition is not easy. Most pennies from 1997 went straight into circulation, where they were used, handled, dropped, and slowly worn down over the years. This means that a typical circulated 1997 penny today is only worth 1 cent. Even if it looks a little nicer than average, it still usually holds only face value, but for coins in extremely high grades, those that look flawless or nearly flawless, things change. Coin collectors want coins that have never been circulated, with bright luster, sharp details, no scratches, and a strong original copper red color. These are known as uncirculated mint state coins. The highest levels of mint state grading can make a huge difference in value. A 1997 penny that grades at a top mint state level, especially with a bright red finish, can sell for much more, sometimes for impressive amounts at auctions. These are the rare exceptions that grab attention and create headlines online. But they are not the norm. Only a tiny percentage of all 1997 pennies ever produced would qualify as that kind of ultra-high-grade collectible. Because of this, it's important to understand that even though a few spectacular examples have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, most of the everyday coins people find do not fall into that category. The extreme sales are outliers, not examples of typical value. That's why many online claims about rare 1997 no-mint mark pennies worth huge money can be misleading. The truth is, condition is everything. A beautiful, flawless coin may be worth a lot. A regular worn one is just worth 1 cent. So now let's talk realistically about the market value of the 1997 no-mint mark penny as of the year 2025. If your coin has been circulated and shows any wear, even minor wear, it is almost always worth only face value. If it's uncirculated, bright, clean, and well preserved, it might bring somewhere between 10 cents and $1, depending on how sharp and attractive it is. Very high-grade examples, especially those that still have full bright copper red color and have been certified by a professional grading service, can bring more, sometimes several dollars. Only the extremely highest graded examples in the best possible condition could reach significantly higher values, but again, this is extremely uncommon. Some people may try to sell ordinary 1997 pennies online for very inflated prices, but this does not mean the coin is actually worth that amount. Listings are not the same as real-world value. Collectors only pay strong prices for coins that are exceptional. A regular, worn 1997 penny is not exceptional, even though it's over 25 years old now. Age alone does not make a coin valuable, rarity and condition do. If you want to know whether your 1997 penny is truly valuable, the best thing you can do is examine the condition. Look for sharp details on Lincoln's beard, perfect lettering, and full mint luster. Check whether the coin still has that bright red copper shine, or whether it has turned brown or spotted. Also look for scratches, dings, or marks, because even small imperfections can significantly lower the grade. If the coin looks exceptionally clean, flawless, and untouched, then you might have something worth submitting to a professional coin grading company for official certification. For most people, though, the 1997 penny is a fun, interesting, and nostalgic coin, but not a rare treasure. It's a great part of American coinage history, but it is not one of the rare key dates that collectors desperately search for. Still, it's always worth checking your pennies, because occasionally a beautifully preserved one slips through circulation, and those are the ones that can be worth much more. The 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a common coin with billions minted. The missing mint mark is completely normal, and most examples are worth just face value. Truly valuable ones are those that are in stunning, high-grade mint state condition, and those are rare. In 2025, the market value ranges from 1 cent for circulated coins, up to a few dollars for attractive uncirculated examples, and potentially much more for top-graded, exceptional specimens. 1998 No Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary penny you'd find in your pocket, in your coin jar, or stuck between your car seats. But as always in coin collecting, the story goes much deeper. This humble coin carries history, hidden details, surprising varieties, and a market value that can range from 1 cent all the way up to significantly more in rare cases. So let's explore why collectors pay attention to this penny, how rare it really is, and what it's worth today in 2025. The 1998 penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which ran from 1959 through 2008. On the front, it shows the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and on the back, it displays the Lincoln Memorial. Like all pennies made after 1982, it's composed mostly of zinc with a thin copper plating. And because this coin has no mint mark, that tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now here's something important: the Philadelphia Mint produced over 5 billion of these pennies in 1998. That means the majority of them are extremely common. You could search through any large jar of change today and still find them. However, that doesn't mean every 1998 penny is worth just a cent. Even coins from very common years can have exceptions, and those exceptions can attract collector interest, and sometimes money. The main thing that separates an ordinary penny from a valuable one is condition. If your penny has been in circulation for years, showing scratches, dull color, or worn surfaces, then it's safe to say its value stays at 1 cent. But if you have a coin that somehow escaped the wear and tear of circulation, maybe it came from a mint set, or someone saved it early on, it can have a higher value. Uncirculated 1998 pennies with bright luster and no damage can sell for a small premium. There's another factor that makes some 1998 pennies stand out, and that's the presence of a special variety known among collectors. One of the most sought-after varieties for this year is the so-called wide AM reverse. This variety has a slightly wider space between the letters A and M in the word America. It's a small difference, but collectors pay attention to these details because they come from different die designs used at the mint. While not extremely rare, finding one of these in high-grade condition can push the value higher than a normal penny. So what does that mean for the actual market value of this coin in 2025? For the average circulated 1998 no mint mark penny, the value is simply 1 cent. If it's just a bit nicer than usual, you might see it sell for a few cents. But when you step into the uncirculated range, the story changes. A nice bright uncirculated example might bring anywhere from around 30 cents to a couple of dollars. The extremely high-grade examples, the ones graded by professional grading services, with grades like MS66 or MS67, can reach higher values. These coins must have near-perfect surfaces, full original color, and strong mint luster. Those coins are scarce because even though billions were minted, only a tiny fraction survive in pristine condition. Collectors also pay a higher price if the coin has both exceptional condition and a special variety like the wide AM. Those can command even more attention and sell for higher amounts depending on demand and the market at the time. Still, it's important to stay realistic. The 1998 penny is not considered a rare year overall. With billions minted, it simply doesn't have the natural scarcity that pushes prices into the hundreds or thousands of dollars. For most people, the 1998 penny they find in circulation won't turn out to be a jackpot. This doesn't mean it's not worth checking, though. If you find a 1998 no mint mark penny, take a look at its condition. Does it have strong shine? Sharp details? No scratches? Does the reverse show that wider spacing between the A and M? If so, it may be worth setting aside. And if you're truly curious about the value, a coin dealer or grading service can help confirm whether it's something special. The 1998 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a great example of how even the most ordinary-looking coin can have details that collectors appreciate. Most of them are worth only a cent, but a small percentage can be worth more, sometimes several dollars, if they are well preserved, high grade, or have a special variety. As of 2025, the market for these coins remains steady, very common as everyday cents, but still interesting for collectors searching for top-grade or variety pieces. So the next time you get change at the store or empty out a coin jar, don't ignore those little brown coins. One of them might have a bit more story and a bit more value than you expect. The 1999 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary penny from your pocket, but within this simple coin lies a story of history, rarity, and surprisingly high value under the right circumstances. By the end of this video, you will know exactly why some 1999 pennies are worth only 1 cent while others have sold for serious money, and what their real value is in the year 2025. Let's start with where this coin comes from. The 1999 penny is part of the famous Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which ran from 1959 all the way to 2008. On the front of the coin is the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln that has been used on the penny for more than a century. On the reverse side is the Lincoln Memorial, a design used for 50 years. In 1999, these coins were minted in enormous numbers. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced billions of these pennies, and because Philadelphia uses no mint mark on cents, the absence of a mint mark is completely normal. When you see a 1999 penny with no mint mark, that simply means it came from Philadelphia, which is why most of these coins are extremely common today. Another important detail about the 1999 penny is its metal composition. Although older pennies were made mostly of copper, by 1999 the United States Mint had long switched to a copper-plated zinc design. That means the coin has a zinc core with a thin copper coating on the outside. This type of penny is lighter, more prone to corrosion, and wears down more quickly. Because of this, most 1999 pennies today are scratched, dull, or discolored, which keeps their value low unless they were preserved in excellent condition. Now let's get into what collectors find exciting. Even though billions were made, a few special varieties and error coins can make a 1999 penny worth much more than face value. The most famous variety is known as the wide AM penny. This refers to the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the back of the coin. On regular 1999 pennies, the A and M are very close together and almost touching. But on the rare wide AM variety, there is a noticeable gap between the letters. This mistake happened because a proof reverse die was accidentally used on regular business strike coins. That tiny difference makes the wide AM version far more valuable to collectors. Another factor that greatly affects the value of any 1999 penny is its condition. Collectors grade coins on a scale from worn and circulated all the way up to mint state, meaning the coin has never been used and shows no wear. A shining red mint state penny is always worth more than a brown or faded one. Even without errors, some 1999 pennies in extremely high grade can sell for several dollars or more, especially if they were well protected right from the time they were minted. But now let's talk real numbers, because that's what everyone wants to know. What is a 1999 no mint mark penny actually worth in 2025? The honest answer is that most of them are worth exactly 1 cent. The majority of these coins have been in circulation for 26 years, and unless they were saved early in pristine condition, they usually show wear. However, uncirculated examples can bring more value. A nice uncirculated 1999 penny might sell for a few dozen cents to a few dollars depending on the color and grade. When you move into higher grades, the value rises more. A bright red mint state coin with strong luster and flawless surfaces can sell for $10 or more, though these are not extremely common. The rare wide AM variety is where things get exciting. Depending on the grade, a 1999 wide AM penny can sell for tens, hundreds, and in some cases for exceptionally preserved examples, significantly more. These are the coins collectors compete for. There have even been isolated cases of rare errors or extremely high-grade examples selling for astonishing amounts at auction. However, these are exceptional situations and not what most people will find in their pocket change. Still, the possibility is part of what makes the 1999 penny so interesting to search for. So if you find a 1999 penny, what should you look for? First, examine the back of the coin and look at the spacing between the A and the M in America. If there is a wide gap, you may have a valuable variety. Next, check the overall condition. If the coin still has a bright copper red shine and shows no wear, it might be worth getting professionally graded. Always avoid cleaning the coin, because cleaning damages the surface and destroys collector value. To summarize the market situation in 2025, common circulated 1999 pennies are worth 1 cent, uncirculated examples may sell for under $1 to a few dollars, high-grade red mint state coins can bring higher premiums, and the rare wide AM variety is the true treasure that can be worth a significant amount of money. This combination of history, rarity, and the thrill of searching makes the 1999 no mint mark penny a fascinating coin for collectors and beginners alike. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history and value, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more coin collecting guides. You never know, the next coin in your pocket could be worth far more than you think.